Hi, everybody. Today we're going to talk about the struggle between the United Nations and the Soviet Union after the Soviet Union gets nuclear weapons. Okay, so that's your big question. It is, how did Americans react to not being the only country left with an atomic bomb? We're working with Tennessee U.S. History Standard 78, which was telling you to talk about how Americans' fear of that nuclear holocaust is going to cause us to stockpile more weapons, test bigger bombs, create the civil defense, bomb shelters, mutually assured destruction, and we'll talk about Sputnik and military industrial complex later. Okay. July 16th, 1945 was the Trinity test. That was our first atomic explosion. It proved we could do this. Shortly after this, a couple months after this, we're going to drop bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And America is going to feel superior to everybody. It's going to be very much we cannot believe that you we cannot believe that you're equal to us because we have a bomb and you don't. Okay. And that we go along feeling pretty superior for about 4 years. And then August 29th, 1949, first lightning happens. And first lightning is the Soviet Union's first atomic explosion. Not only was it the first explosion, it was bigger than ours. And we freak out because not only could they do what we did, they did it bigger than us. So what does this mean for the United States? First thing that happens is the nuclear arms race is on. It is going. We're going to, for the rest of this Cold War, we're going to be competing with each other to see who could make the bigger nukes and who could make more of them. And Americans are now going to be in a constant state of fear that the Soviet Unions will bomb us. Mostly because for the 4 years that we were the only ones with the bomb, we kept threatening to nuke Soviet Union. So now they can threaten us, and now we're afraid it will actually happen. So we create a bigger bomb to one-up the Soviet Union. November 1st, 1952, the United States detonated the first hydrogen bomb. It was 67 times more powerful than Little Boy, which was the bomb we dropped on Hiroshima. On August 12th, 1953, the Soviet Union detonates what we thought was an H-bomb. It wasn't. It was really just a really big atomic bomb. By November 22nd, 1955, the Soviet Union had detonated its own H-bomb. And this is going to lead to a major fear of communist spies. How are they getting this information so quickly? And yeah, there were communist spies leaking them information. That's how they got the information. So we were afraid of communist spies for a good reason. You're going to learn later on that fear goes too far. So you've got the hydrogen bomb testing. This is a group of generals and scientists watching the actual testing of the hydrogen bomb. And then we change our policies. Okay. Brinkmanship doesn't come in all the way yet, but we're starting it. Brinkmanship was coined by Secretary of State John Dulles. Brinkmanship was the idea of an all-out war. So our only response to aggression is war. So if you threaten us, our response isn't to, put sanctions on you. Our response isn't to refuse to sell you things or to hurt your economy. If you threaten us, our only response, according to brinkmanship, is to attack you. We will go to war with you, attack you before you can attack us. And because our only response is military intervention, brinkmanship is going to force the rapid expansion of the Air Force. Specifically, so we have enough planes to deliver atomic bombs to the United States, to the Soviet Union. And by deliver atomic bombs, I mean bomb the crap out of them. Okay. Now, people were trying to say that having a bunch of nuclear weapons was actually a deterrent. Okay. Having enough weapons actually kept people from using them. It was called mutually assured destruction. Okay. Or MAD. It was a military doctrine that said if both sides used their nuclear weapons, both sides would be destroyed. If I use my nukes against you, you'll use your nukes against me, and then we both lose. Okay. We are sure that we will both destroy each other if we start nuking each other, which was meant as a preventative measure. This basically means we're going to have these nukes, but we're not going to use them because once we use ours, you're going to use yours, and neither side wants that. This was used as a reason to build up the atomic arsenals on both sides, because theoretically, if you could get more weapons than the other side had, and you dropped them all at once, you would destroy the other country fast enough that they would not be able to retaliate against you. But because we're both building our arsenals up, no side ever gets a big enough lead to do that. Americans are going to live in a constant state of fear. There's going to be air raid drills and fallout shelters, both public and private. Public shelters are usually in the middle of towns where everyone can go to if they don't have their own. Private fallout shelters could be, small things you've got in your own backyard for your own personal family's use. There were even some really fancy private fallout shelters at country clubs. So if you were a member of a country club, you could go to the swanky private fallout shelter. The civil defense is set up. It trains members to keep everyone safe during and after an attack, so they know how to respond. Children were taught to duck and cover anytime they saw the flash. So you've got fallout shelters that look like this. Okay, this will be steel corrugated shelters underground, covered up by concrete and soil. Okay. You were told to stock your fallout shelter with, as much food as you possibly can to last you as long as physically possible. To stock it with things to read and activities to do to keep you from going crazy from boredom. So they'd store card games and board games and anything they could think of to keep themselves entertained. And then we will watch this video in class.